Hello, Warriors. Welcome to FACE. I'm Dale Pinkert. I'm your host here. I want to welcome all our viewers at investing.com today. So I'll start off with the S&P. So this is a very important area for the bears to contain this advance. The 61.8 players were shook out last week before this pullback, and something about 78.6, because it shakes out a lot of 61.8 players, ends up being 78.6. And I also remember an associate I used to work with that said the S&Ps loved that fib number. So very critical if for bears to stop this advance here. Otherwise, I believe we're going to be looking at another push to a new high here. So pretty critical right here, 78.6, enough to shake out. Not too many people are short that were selling these rallies since a big break we had into early August. So key level here. And it's not what it does intraday, it's how the candle closes. We get a reversal candle here today after being up sharply. Then there's a problem, and I think you could look for this low to be taken out before we have a better rally in equities. An important part to pay attention to is the trade war. And this is a trade war currency. USD yuan. We have a new high here without confirmation. In fact, I have a lot of 2 drives in here in the market right now that I'm monitoring. I'm looking at the daily chart here. So we have 2 drives here. This was a confirmed high. Here's our first divergence. My associate, Steve Volge, I was asking him a week or so ago what type of fib extension levels USD yuan could get to. I believe 723 to 27 was a fib extension, so there could be one more push. It seems like the market's been able to shrug off this recent weakness in the yuan. We'll see if we rally to new highs. This might be the catalyst, or should be the catalyst, for a failure in the S&Ps from there if that happens. So here you go. Here's another 2 drive formation. Let's get to the star of the show, which has been silver. Really, I really underestimated this. Oh no, Stell, I'm the face of FACE. Right?
You are the face of FACE.
I'm the face of FACE, and I want everyone to not only know my voice, but see what trading does to someone, because everyone, I'm only 32 years old. So if you want to get into the trading, business, it can aid you. So that was really the whole point of it. So it is a high stress gig, and maybe I've aged a little bit, but there goes the camera. Let's have a good day. So I want to show this in silver, and it shows up on the 1 hour. So here we have 1, here we have 2, and I noticed Blake and Andre talking on Skype about some type of harmonic pattern that could happen in silver. The RSI reading was a little high here, although diverging. This implies we could still get a new high, and the gold form is even better, because when gold broke through resistance here, we barely got through 70. So if we get a 1, this was 1, and we get a 2, I'll be looking to attempt shorts at a new high. I have this 3 drive line coming in, around 1575 to 80 in the next few days, and a weaker dollar might be what the doctor ordered for that to complete up there. USD, the oil, had a great day yesterday, and here we are right at this major resistance. We start cracking 57. I think 61's in play, and the yen, despite all this dollar weakness, has been pretty strong. The bears have to keep it underneath this 107-ish level, otherwise you're going to have a squeeze develop there. And one other thing, I want to congratulate Stell on his macro call in EG, something we've been talking about here for the last few weeks. We got the breakdown. Yesterday's close, we talked about 89.50 all the way up here. Actually, you could even look for fib retracements. The next one's 89.12, and then 88. You have a moving average coming in here, 200-day at 88.30. I don't think this is the final high. I think this is the beginning of a bull move, and basically it means that this is a break to buy, because after this correction, the euro, whether the dollar is up or down, will hold up better than cables. So cables had this tremendous move. Really the guys at ForexAnalytix were on this turn in the dollar, mainly from the euro, although the pound was a better one. Blake was talking about how we could squeeze and talking about much higher levels a little bit down the road. So anyone who's been here with us during the week, and especially our members, have been able to take advantage of our top pick in the dollar, bottom pick in FX. And Amanda's back. I know a lot of people are really happy about that. Okay, so we had, looks like they took profits on a lot of them. Okay, oh, those are closed, active. Okay, so Blake up 1% in euro, 1.618 in Kiwi. Our hit rate's a bit above 50%, and most of the pattern in plays have at least a 3-to-1 profit risk ratio. So pretty much everything in the green here. Stelios is up 2.5% from where he got in euro pound. Just want to kind of give you guys a heads up. If you, like Blake says, you've been on the fence, we're probably a week or so away from our fall season promo, and it's going to be a great time for you to invest in your trading future by becoming part of our trading community. I've been around for a few years, as you saw by my picture, and I know everyone thinks I'm not being objective, I'm being subjective, but it's the strongest team of traders I've ever been a part of. And that includes, I was on the floor, and they say some of the best traders in the world were on the floor. That's not necessarily true. A lot of guys made money just filling orders, became millionaires by just filling the paper, and they didn't have to be directional. They didn't have to be right. They just traded the flow of paper and got in between the bid and the offer and fought for, we call them pips. Back then we called them ticks. So this is really a strong crew, and you have to at least go to our website, check it out. And what you may want to do before the promo is take the trial, if you haven't, for $1, and familiarize yourself and get prepared for becoming a subscriber. And you'll be more familiar with the whole platform and be able to make the most out of the platform.
Coach?
Okay, go, yeah.
Since you're introducing a lot of information, let me also say that on Saturday.
Yeah. Joe's webinar?
Yes, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, 1500 hours GMT, if you want it in GMT. Joe has a presentation. You can register for free. I'm going to put the link for Joe's presentation in the chat. If you've registered ForexAnalytix at some point, or if you're receiving our newsletter, you should have received an email yesterday about it. I think it's worth watching. It's a presentation Joe has delivered a couple of times before, but every time it's being reworked, and he makes it better and more comprehensive. So it has to do with the power of technical confluences as a guide to trading the market. So I really think it's worth watching. So I just put the link in the chat. Okay.
Bloomberg Joe?
Bloomberg Joe, of course.
Yeah, okay. There's only one Bloomberg Joe. Joe Kernan is CNBC, but Bloomberg Joe is our own.
Indeed.
Okay.
Indeed.
All right. So Joe Perry, wasn't he the lead singer in Journey?
Metallica.
Oh, no.
No.
Journey? Oh no, that was Steve Perry. Oh, okay. All right. Anyway. So Blake, I guess, is up, was having some internet issues.
Yeah, I'm here now.
All right, Blake, great call on the bottom of the euro. Nice.
Thanks. You know, we have ADP coming out here shortly, so I just want everybody to know that ADP is about ready to come out, which we're going to cover. Excuse me, live here. You know, the euro. Well, you know, the dollar is just pulling back. I mean, that's, you know, bottom line is the dollar index is pulling back. Looks like we're going to hit the 618, which is, you know, this 98 level, you know, and so that means that the euro's probably got a little bit further to go. I think the euro can reach 111. You know, I think that's a doable target for the euro still, but we have to get past ADP. Now, ADP, you know, this is our payrolls report, and we're going to look at the yen really quick. The yen pairs, it's just not the dollar yen. I want to show you the dollar yen, and what's really important today is this 106.80 level. That's the level that everybody should be watching with the dollar yen, because if that breaks, you might notice the other yen pairs have already broken out. Here's the euro yen. We broke out of this down channel. And if you use ForexAnalytix, you saw this analysis yesterday. Pound yen, we got a double bottom. It's got a lot of room to move higher. The Aussie yen broke higher. We're nearing the 50% retracement. Probably some pretty key resistance right through here at 73. And then New Zealand yen broke higher out of the channel. Canadian yen broke higher out of the channel. We're at the 50%. This one can actually go a little bit further than because the pullback was a little bit less. But we have to see a strong number, ADP number, which, you know, right now the market's looking for 149,000 jobs to be created. Previous was 156,000. So we'll see what the number is. Now, if it is a miss, the dollar yen's going to have a little bit of a struggle here at this key resistance. But then you have to look at, you know, like the euro, for example. You know, we've squeezed past a lot of this resistance already. You know, we've squeezed past this 110.12 level, past this previous support at 110.50, and you know, they could really open up the upside. Now, obviously, everybody is probably wondering about the cable. The cable is squeezing. This is, you know, I'll let Stelios talk about the cable in a little bit, and what's happening there. But the cable is now in short squeeze mode, and there are a lot of, you know, fast money, short-term, you know, institutional traders that are covering. I've seen, you know, multiple reports from different sources that, you know, just the short squeeze is commencing. You know, how aggressive it will be will probably be determined by this level right here. We break above 123.70 ish, and that spike low, we're going to start really squeezing, because that's a 50% retracement of the last move lower. And you guys already know this because I said it yesterday. False breakdown usually leads to a breakout. False breakouts usually leads to breakdown. This is a false breakdown. It leads to a breakout. You know, there's a good chance that we're going to see, you know, a move back above 125 here in this leg higher. Now, you know, you guys may be bearish the cable. I don't know if this is the right time to be bearish the cable. You know, we're probably going to, you know, when a squeeze starts, it doesn't really matter, you know, what the data is. It just, you know, you just get a squeeze. Okay, let's get over to the dollar yen. Let's look for the data. You see here's Bloomberg, just so you can match it up. ADP looking for 148. Data flash has at 149. You guys know the number is going to be right around 150. That's the expectations. Let's see.
Employment data are lagging indicators anyhow, just to mention.
Yeah, you could argue services PMI is equally important today.
Yeah. Hold on, guys. Stand by. Strong number, 195. Wow, that's a big number.
Yep.
That is a big number.
You know, Blake, I've started doubting if there is any real point in watching these numbers anymore, besides the fact that the market reacts to them. I'm saying that because I know that you probably saw this. They went back a whole year and they actually reassessed the numbers having to do with NFPs, and the change was minus 500,000, which means that for every single month of the last year, the average NFP was 43,000 less than reported. So a lot of beats that the market was cheering were actually misses. A lot of misses were miserable misses. So, you know, who knows when they can end up revising the numbers by, you know, that big of a margin, who knows, honestly.
All right. Yeah, they definitely will make revisions. So that's like any economic data though that gets released. But I just picked up a little bit of cable on that dip. So when it dipped down to 25, I bought some more here. So just let you guys know. I wanted to take advantage of that little dip. I think that all these yen pairs are going to continue to squeeze higher. Watch this euro yen. If we squeeze above 106.80, that's going to be huge. This is going to be a big one. Because this was the breakdown point here. So if we get above that, which, you know, I think the euro is already in squeeze mode, we should see probably 107, you know, 60 or so. So just keep that in mind. The dollar weakness that you see against these European current, or the dollar strength that you see against the European currencies, might be just a temporary thing, because once the yen pairs squeeze, because these, you have to imagine these yen pairs, like the euro yen, they've been beaten up. I mean, look where we've come from, right? Just think, like, just from the summer, you know, we've gone from 123 to, you know, here we are at 118, and, you know, we're just going to revert back to the mean. So, you know, the move with all these yen pairs up is going to be dollar weakness and yen weakness at the same time. And by the way, you know, you look at the S&P, we're probably going back to whoops, that's the NASDAQ. We're probably going back to 3,000 now. We're knocking our head up against the top of this resistance zone. You can see this has been our resistance zone. We're probably coming back up here. And so with, you know, any type of pullback in, like the euro, for example, you have to use that as an opportunity. You know, the euro pulls back a little bit, you probably want to buy it as it's, you know, making its way back towards 111. The cable, you know, still squeezing. The pullbacks are very minor here. You know, you can see they're just being gobbled up by, you know, probably traders that are short. You know, they're just trying to get out of their shorts. I mean, look at the pound yen. This is a double bottom, pretty classic, you know, double bottom. The extension takes us to 134 and change, you know. So, you know, use these dips as you know, opportunities. The ASEAN, I'm probably one of the trades that I'm really upset about. Last night after the close, I got long some New Zealand yen. Just kind of during my analysis, I was doing, you know, some work, and I picked up the New Zealand yen at 67, like 67.48 or something, and I sold it at 67.65 before I went out to go to my kids' sporting events last night, and I should have just stuck with it, obviously. One other thing that I want to talk about really quick is silver. You know, I tweeted something yesterday about silver, the long-term prospects of silver. But then if you read the blog last night, we have a, you know, crab pattern. I had to confirm that with Andre, that this was indeed a crab pattern. I was thinking it was a butterfly, but because this point B didn't reach a 78%, it was, you know, a crab. And I sold it right at the close yesterday. I shorted it like literally right at the close. So wherever we were at the close, it was like right here. Actually, it was right here at 1950. I closed it on the spike lower last night. I actually had to pull over my vehicle and closed it. I didn't get out obviously in European trade, but I did short silver, and I did pretty well with it. So I think silver is in a near term what I would probably consider consolidation. If anybody is looking to buy silver, which I think longer term we're going higher, you probably want to look at around this 1850. Maybe, you know, if we can get to this trend line, you know, it depends how aggressively we come down. You know, maybe it ends up being 1820 or so. But I think these levels are going to be, you know, if we can do this, if we can get some sort of pullback down here, that's going to be the opportunity to be on the long side for those of you that are trying. And if you're shorting it, if you're out there shorting it, just be careful. I got my stops to break even like as soon as I could. As soon as I was, you know, I think I was in the money by like, you know, 15 cents. I moved my stops to break even because I didn't want to risk anything. This trend is way too strong. It is really, really strong. And like I tweeted yesterday, for those of you that follow me via Twitter, I think silver's got a long way to go. And so the last thing you want to do is get, you know, aggressive on, you know, a counter trend trade and, you know, leave your stops too wide. You know, like I said, I just had to move my stops to, you know, to break even ASAP. Now we have this pound that's breaking higher. I don't know if Stelios is here and he's available. Stelios, hey, so what's going on with the cable? I hear Boris Johnson's brother has left the building.
Yeah, he said he's torn between his ethics and his and the party politics. But the main thing that happened yesterday was that Boris Johnson basically, the parliament passed the no deal Brexit law, basically that it's going to not allow a no deal Brexit to happen. So that's the bill has been passed and that's going to become law basically. And then so that's, you know, that's the main reason why we talked about this yesterday, why the pound was rallying. And then Johnson tried to call an election, an early election, and he needs a majority to do that. I think it's a 2/3 majority he needs, and he failed on that as well. So where we stand now is that theoretically a no-deal Brexit will not happen. They're still going to try and negotiate. And if they want to hold elections before the 31st of October, if I'm not mistaken, they have to dissolve the government. They have to actually basically vote for a new election by Tuesday next week, 1 minute past midnight or something like that. So we don't have much time. Jacob Rees-Mogg did say about an hour ago or 30 minutes ago that they're going to push to try and get these elections called. But if they don't, then there are not too many options left for the UK. One is going to be.
Stelio, I have a question. Now that they're forbidden to go for a no-deal Brexit, what exactly is theoretically the bargaining chip with which they?
There is none. Yeah, there is none.
Exactly. So I mean, I really don't understand the plan here.
I don't either. I think taking out the no-deal Brexit scenario is not good for the UK. It's not good for the pound. But short term, the pound seems to like it because they don't
either. You guys don't, and they don't.
It's the whole, you know, short-term fix, long-term problems. Just the, you know, it's kicking the can down the road, right? I mean, you know, that's all you're doing.
Yeah, but in the case of the UK, Blake, and you know that better than anybody, we've been now in the third year of uncertainty due to what's going to happen with Brexit. And, you know, whatever damage Brexit is going to do, if they keep on going like that, it will have already been done before we get Brexit. Just, you know, from uncertainty, and you know how much that kills investment and, you know, whatever opportunities for business in the country. So I really don't understand the plan here. They're just, you know, killing the UK economy, you know, a millimeter at a time.
Death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah. So it looks like the most probable scenario now is another extension, but it's not as simple as that. You know, it's not automatic. It has to be voted by the EU, and it could easily be vetoed or whatever. You know, so this is not a you know, foregone conclusion that things are okay now that the no-deal Brexit scenarios are off the table.
It's the largest fib extension in history.
Based on what you just mentioned, we have a viewer here, John, who mentions exactly what you just said, Stelio. He says that also to get an extension requires all 28 members to agree, and Hungary may veto it as they are sympathetic to Boris.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, they have extended again, before. So, you could say that it's, if it goes for another extension, it's probably going to happen. But it's not a done deal. That's a thing. And if we get to a new election, Johnson is losing people, but being so firm with his no deal Brexit, sorry, not no deal Brexit, being so firm about Brexit, look, we're getting out of the EU, end of story. He's on the same page in a way with the Brexit party. So I think it's going to be a possibility that they might, the Conservatives and the Brexit party might join forces. And if they do, obviously they'll have a big big ruling coalition. So,
Stelio, even if they don't, people that really, really want to get a Brexit might consider voting for him, thinking that anyhow, it's the two parties that are going to be fighting for government. So at least since, our first priority is getting Brexit and he seems to mean it, why don't we vote for him?
Yeah,
so
at the moment, the UK,
a lot of that vote, yeah,
the UK parties at the moment are split between Brexit and no Brexit, and Brexit is obviously Conservatives and the Brexit party, and everybody else is against it. So it's split in the middle, and what can happen? I don't have a clue. I don't think anybody can make a forecast on what's going to happen with that.
Well, I'll tell you what is happening is the dollar yen is now squeezing. So I would assume that risk is starting to move higher as well. So look at the S&P here. We're starting to firm up, and we are starting to see a move higher in risk. Now, what's creating this move in risk? I don't know. But anyway, I mean, going with the UK and going back to what your conversations are here, I'm going to let the charts do the work for me versus me trying to figure it out so much. And that's why, the cable, hey, as long as we're, we hold out and consolidate above 123, I don't think I'd want to be short, as long as we're above 123. We are holding this breakout point. This relative strength too, just technically, if you look at like the 4-hour cable chart, we're breaking out and overbought with the 4-hour relative strength, but it is actually confirming. It's not a divergent move. So it is confirming that move higher in the cable. And technically that means that, it still suggests that we're going to go higher, whether it is, we do that like right at this moment, or, we do that, over the course of the next 24 hours, it still seems like the pound is looking very constructive here for bulls. So I'm going to pass it back over to you guys. I know that we do have interviews, and I just wanted to say thanks everybody for listening in, especially those of you from investing.com. I know this is a day where a lot of you guys pop in, guys and gals pop in. So thanks for being here today. And remember, we cover everything FX and obviously indices that surround and help move our markets. This time of day, every day. So if you want to log in, you can also log in. Through our website, or follow most of our team on Twitter. You'll get links to this webinar every day, and
YouTube,
also
everywhere.
Yeah, YouTube everywhere. On Twitter we use Periscope and everything else. So, and for those of you that like our webinar, make sure you visit Forest Park FX. They are our webinar sponsor. They'll help you find a brokerage firm in the FX market that's best suited for your needs. Plus, if you want to try to get ForexAnalytix for free, you can join the reimbursement program if you're not in the United States. If you're outside the United States, you can be part of this program. And you can ask them any questions right here on Skype or email. So, guys, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Thank you, Blake.
Good luck today, Blake.
Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Thanks.
Good hunting, as Dale says.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We have some numbers in about 10 seconds.
Yes, Dale, I'm taking
productivity.
Good luck on reporting the numbers still.
So here we go. Jobless claims same, non-farm productivity 0.1 better, unit labor cost 0.1 better, so marginally better numbers.
There we go. Yeah.
I doubt they're going to move the needle much.
No, I doubt it as well. Jobless claims as expected, labor costs revised slightly higher, productivity revised slightly higher, continuous jobless claims, as expected. It's okay. It doesn't, nothing that is definitely going to move the needle.
We did have a couple of other things I want to mention briefly. We had we don't. Sorry?
Riksbank, I bet, is one of them.
Yes. We don't cover the Swedish krona, but it's always nice to look at. It can usually be, or often be, the canary in the coal mine.
I'm already ready for you.
Steve had kronas at his bachelor party in Sweden.
So the Riksbank met today. That was a good one. They met today. The rate is at minus 0.25%. They were not expected to cut. Actually, there was a small chance of a cut, but I think the market got a little bit ahead of itself, expecting a more dovish tone, which didn't come. They did talk about the current conditions being, there are a few challenges, but they said that their estimate is still that they're going to hike near the end of this year, so go back to 0%. Which is not what the market was expecting, and the krona, as you can see, strengthened. So USD SEK dropped, and same with NOK, which I like, obviously. So that was a big mover of the day, actually, probably. And
yes, I've been showing USD NOK and USD SEK during the past couple of days because both of them produced very nice reversals. Just look at the USD SEK here. Intraday traded above this wedges resistance and then reversed lower. And since then, we've had continuation for 2 days. Earlier today, I was showing that it was testing support. It seems to be trying to break below it, and that would open the door for a move lower towards this horizontal support area. If it takes a few more days, it will also coincide with the wedge support. And needless to say that if we actually break below this wedge, that is going to be a major technical development that is going to lead to much lower prices. And yesterday I was showing USD NOK testing this ascending wedges support, closed the day there. But as you see, today seems to be another day that we're seeing selling. And even if we just want to retrace this wedge or retest the breakout area at 882, we still have quite a lot of room to move to the downside. So I do think that both of them look very appealing.
Yes, I agree, and I am short USD NOK with much lower targets, but that's in a very it's in a more medium term.
Yeah, I would be careful if we go back to 880. I would be very careful there because that was a massive resistance area. It is extremely likely that at least initially is going to act as support.
Yeah, I agree.
So, but if for some reason we break that, then we're talking about a whole different story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that then we can easily continue lower towards 840 once again.
Yeah. Okay, so that was one thing. The other thing I wanted to briefly mention, we had Germany factory orders today came in at very disappointing, minus 2.7% month on month. It was expected to minus 1.5. And this is another number which is showing, it's a leading indicator. It's showing that Germany is probably going into recession, as is the whole world, apparently. But another big miss from Germany. And
we got manufacturing contraction now in the US as well, since what was it? Yesterday we got those numbers, or the day before yesterday? My days have become so long lately that they feel like 2 days each.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday, actually.
Yeah, what was it? 49.2, 49.3, something like that.
I'm trying to find it. Actually, it might not have been yesterday.
Might have been the day before, yeah.
It was below 50, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, we had a few more comments.
By the way, Stelio, speaking of the US, that was the first time we saw such a low number in manufacturing since, guess which year?
2008.
2009.
2009. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So what else? Oh yeah, we also had some. There it goes. 49.1. It was, and it was on Tuesday.
49.
My buddy Jim Welsh says it's going to bleed into the consumer. You know, we can handle the weak manufacturing part of this equation, but the consumer is 70% of the economy here. So that is going to be, you know, Steve, if we really fail, it's going to be because people aren't shopping.
Yeah.
No?
Oh my God! Now you're going to force me to rant again.
Oh boy! Hold it. I
we
got in
have
my
to-
time machine. I
in
didn't
all
say it.
honesty- In all honesty, just I mean, do me a favor, everybody. Throw out of the window the economics book. Some people are trying to teach you. I'm not talking about Dale, of course. Now I'm talking about universities and everything. A consumption-based model is bound to fail. End of story. An economy that isn't producing cannot survive. The only reason economies have been surviving with this consumption-based model is because they keep expanding their debt.
Yeah.
But there is nobody in the right mind that can give you a formula that this can work in the long run. Nobody, because it can't. It simply can't. I mean, we just keep indebting future generations. At some point, of course, the whole trust in this Ponzi system is going to be, going out of the window. And guess who's going to be at a good point then? Only economies that actually produce tangible stuff, that have actual usage and are in demand. End of story. So, yes, Dale, I agree with you.
They say, Steve, that in this new SDR, the way they're going to measure if there is, like a new system, and it's an SDR, that they're going to measure the importance of each currency and each country by their GDP to debt, and that'll be the weighting, which means that the U.S. would take a real hit in weighting.
I don't want to sound like
Jim Rickards.
I don't want to sound old because I'm just 39. But let me ask a question honestly. Because more or less
Benny's age.
Everybody agrees that the whole fiat currency system that we have, the US dollar now has more or less failed. Why replace it with a system that will just have a basket of fiat currencies? I mean, let me say it opposite. What was wrong with the gold standard? Really, what was it? Besides the fact that, of course,
it handcuffed being able to debase our currency to make paying back the debt easier.
Yes, they couldn't go on a debt binge. That was the only thing that was wrong with the gold standard, right? So, and keep in mind, and I was saying that earlier in the chat room, having to do with gold and silver, so we can go back in the chat, because I know that many of you enjoy speaking about economics, but many of you just want to, have a look at the charts.
Make money.
Yeah, of course. Although, trust me, to make a lot of money, you need to have the big picture in mind at the end of the day. But don't forget that gold and silver are monetary metals, okay? Why? Because they've been accepted as money, real money, since like 5,000 years ago. So, yes, I do see both of them very likely to reverse from here. Blake really top-ticked silver yesterday. If you haven't been visiting our blog, if you go to ForexAnalytix, and that is free for everybody, on a daily basis, either Blake, most of the times Blake or I, we put out, where is it? Here it is. We put out a chart of the day. Okay, yesterday the chart of the day was silver. Blake was showing here in silver that silver hit the 78.6% extension, which also completed the harmonics pattern, this crab pattern. Okay, so he actually top-ticked it. We know that silver DSI was at 95, which is like, an unbelievable number. I mean, you so rarely see numbers like 95 or 5. So sentiment is extreme. We know that positioning has shifted from the market being very, very short silver. It has shifted for, the market being long. We know that we've had a parabolic move. How do we know that? Because initially this move was contained within this channel, which by itself was steep enough. So, a very decent uptrend. And then after the uptrend has already moved for quite some time, you get an acceleration higher and you get this, steep overthrow, which, very frequently is like the last leg of a move. Now, by last leg of a move, and now I'm coming back to what I wanted to say is, I'm still of the opinion that, let me show you the weekly chart, because for this one, it's better if we talk on the weekly chart. This is just the beginning. Just look at weekly on silver and consider what kind of monetary policy we're about to get. Okay, so first of all, we're at the beginning of this move. Okay, I mean, I expect that we can easily end up revisiting this chart at some point in the not too distant future and seeing that something like that happened. Okay. So yeah, coach, 26 is a very, very, very strong area. So yeah, it can act as a resistance when we get there. But would you be buying it after this move? I mean, silver has moved higher since May by 30%. Just consider this. This is a move that would even make Bitcoiners happy. And we're talking about a metal, okay?
No,
so,
Bitcoin quadrupled from earlier lows. That would be like silver going to 40.
Yeah, but since May, silver has actually been outperforming Bitcoin.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but they're not happy with 30%. I'm just telling you, crypto people. It's got to be 3 digits.
They're not happy with 30%. I mean? That's why they're going to find themselves with minus 99% at some point. Yeah, but those people in silver.
Steve, I wish you had conviction about what you speak about.
But
right, anyway, I wish you were a little more certain about everything you say.
Yeah, but those people that are happy with the 30% they have in silver, why do you think it is extremely hard for silver to go to 26? Why do you think that silver would be hard to go to the next zone, which is at 35? Why do you even think that eventually silver couldn't take out 50? Okay, I mean, every single central bank is just turning on, the monetary stimulus machine once again, and we're at the very beginning. Officially, nobody's in a recession. Imagine what's going to happen when everybody's going to be running huge deficits that are going to be monetized by monetary policy. Okay, we're talking about massive amounts of inflation. And, for those that are going to immediately stop me and say, inflation, what are you talking about? First of all, the expansion of money supply is inflation by definition. Now, of course, somebody can say that, it didn't spill that much to daily prices previously, but you don't know that because, you could have had deflation, which we probably would. And, deflation is not a bad thing. Deflation is a good thing, especially when an economy isn't going well, because when an economy is not performing well, at least deflation acts as a counterbalance for the average Joe. I'm not talking about Joe Perry here. For the average Joe to make it better under severe circumstances. People get unemployed, etc. Anyhow, something tells me that
Steve, just one comment. People always demonize deflation. Say, "Oh, this is really bad. We don't want deflation." Actually, the big risk is deflationary spiral, which is never going to happen again, because we're like you said before, monetary supply is increasing at ridiculous levels, and as long as that's happening, deflation, if it happens, it's going to be very mild, and it's actually not going to be a bad thing, like you said. I personally don't think a deflationary spiral.
The US had 100 years of deflation at some point, until like 70 years ago, whenever it was. And that was the best 100 years of the US economy.
Yeah. Anyway, Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, deflation is not a bad thing. Actually, that's the fun part. Deflation is a natural outcome of an economy that increases its productivity. But you know, a lot of people don't care to explain that. They use as a guide broken instruments like the Phillips curve, you know, based on a broken CPI model and, you know, all that. Anyhow, gold never really confirmed the new high we had in silver. Actually, I had taken 1/4 of a short, both in gold and silver. My stop wasn't hit in gold, so I'm still in that. My stop when we went above the previous highs was hit in silver. And then considering actually building another quarter short on both the metals, I want to see how how today closes. But yeah, it is absolutely likely that we're finally going to see some pullback here. It is hard to fight the trend, unquestionably. But once we get something unfolding, it's going to be worth it, because I think, after such a move, we can easily see like a 5% move lower, even more than that, before we get more buying interest, and we will. I mean, I'm viewing this move that might be starting here in the metals clearly as corrective. So don't misunderstand me here. If you really want to be in the right side of the trade, wait for a pullback to any of the proper support areas, and then look to buy here. Now, one more instrument that I'm definitely paying attention to, and they've started selling. I actually sold it twice already today. Let me see my entries. It's the Bund, and let me show you why. First of all, no, I think it's better to show you on the 4-hour chart. Here it is. I showed that in the chat room as well. There you go. We have a double top here in the Bund. I have two entry areas, and they are 177.76 and 177.54, and I'm still just like half a position short here. I jumped a little bit the gun because I really do think that the Bunds are, also in need of some type of, a pullback to work out the extremely overbought conditions. I mean, if you just look at the daily chart, we ended up hitting levels like 87 on the daily RSI. I mean, extreme levels here, okay? So I do think that the Bund can easily come down to retest this ascending channel, if not lower than that. So we're talking about a move initially towards like 176.50 to 177. And, if we actually break through that, then we can be talking about a move even down to 174 to retest the previous high. So Bund is of interest, in my opinion, and one instrument I'm currently trading. I also sold some S&P here. I know that everybody's turning now ballistics on the S&P. I mean, yesterday they announced that they're going to be going back to the negotiations table having to do with, I'm talking about the US-China trade deal. Personally, I couldn't care less. I've read and heard about reopening negotiations or negotiations doing extremely well, or we're very close to a deal, and all that. I mean, at least 100 times during the past few months. So I could not care less. I know that I like it here, as a technical level. So I already sold half of the position. I wrote that in the chat room earlier today, and I'm going to be fine increasing that position if we move a little bit higher. So personally, I'm still looking for another leg lower in the S&P. I don't know exactly what can cause that in the short term, but I really couldn't care less. One thing is for sure, I'm not really intimidated by the fact that, as I said, they're claiming that the negotiations are once again ongoing. Let me have a look at a few of your questions. Do you still think risk is constructive given how China's pushed the talks still after their 17th anniversary? Oh, there you go. Exactly my point. No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't believe any of that shit they're giving us. We've only just begun. Carpenters, what is going on today? Please, I have just joined and I do not know what is going on. Thanks. Pound is strengthening. Yeah, pound is strengthening. Stage is already covered, the whys. listen and follow from here, going over pairs now, strengthening, you come to the right place. How can I become like you, sir? What do you mean? You want my wife and my house? I'm kidding. You know, having to do with trading, what is important is to spend a lot of hours in front of charts. You know, it's learning whatever works for you. You know, I've seen people trade with different types of technical analysis and, you know, they become amazing traders. I've seen people trading with fundamentals. Of course, you need to have a long-term horizon. So, you know, they do well as well. The one element you need is dedication, for sure, patience, and I think the right mentality. I think those are the elements probably all traders, all successful traders share. The rest will come with time. Where do you expect gold pullback? Yeah, we'll see levels. Steve, can you elaborate on this thing with UK of labor, etc.? Sorry, can you be more exact in your question? Yeah, okay, you enjoyed that joke. Okay. DAX, yeah, absolutely. If you remember yesterday, I was asking Greg if he thinks that DAX can hit the inverted head and shoulders target. He was uncertain, but I'm pretty sure that the DAX is quite close to doing that. There we go. So we had this inverted head and shoulders formation here. I haven't drawn it on the 4-hour chart, but we can do it together here on the 4-hour chart. There we go. So here it is. Shoulder, head, shoulder, and we can measure a target here with fib extensions. We take the low, something like that. So you can see here the target of this formation is at 12,370. Anyhow, no matter how you interpreted this, you interpreted it as a range, in which case we got a range breakout. You interpret it as an inverted head and shoulder formation, the targets were higher. Of course, if you wanted to interpret that as a range, then we're much closer to the target because that was just like a, you know, intraday overthrow. So in all actuality, the range's support was roughly here at 11,400 and change. That would make the range trade, meaning an extension equal to the height of the range, target 12,200. We came quite close to that, and it's still, in my opinion, extremely likely that we are going to make it to that level. Why not even to the 78.6%, in which case we would also complete the inverted head and shoulders formation. Now, the place that you wanted to be buying, and that's why I mentioned it the day it was happening, was when we were breaking above 11,840, because that were the, you know, that was the level that we got those previous highs. If you have no position in DAX at the moment, I wouldn't be doing anything here. So, you know, if you have no position, you have two options now. Option number one, if you're bearish, you know, look for some kind of a reversal and sell, because I'm still not convinced that DAX is moving higher. I mean, I think it can complete those two targets we talked about, but I'm really unconvinced that, you know, we're going straight higher from here. On the other hand, if you're bullish, I wouldn't be buying here. I mean, if you're bullish, I would say if you're lucky and you get a pullback to 12,060, even better if you get a pullback to 11,980, those would be levels I would be looking to buy. So, you know, depends on, you know, what kind of a bias you have. Personally, as I said before, I believe that buying once we were breaking above the neckline was the thing to do. If you didn't do it, it's fine. We can, you know, catch all the trades. But I won't be doing something right here, right now. Let me see the rest of your questions. Coach, do we have an interview today, by the way? To come in, yes. Cycle hits next week, setting up for a high to come in, yes. Might be the case. I mean, I'm not positive in you know, in stocks at the moment, especially US stocks. Can they move to all-time highs? Of course they can. I mean, we are in a prolonged uptrend, but personally, after the initial move we got lower, which was quite impulsive, I do think that this move is, has to first fail before we can start looking for upside targets once again. Now, Blake didn't visit those, so I can talk about them once again. I want to remind you that I kept saying, and you can also look at it as a range, that a key level for the Aussie USD is 68.30. So keep an eye here. We're just like 13 pips below that level. A break above 68.30 in Aussie USD is a bullish event here. So, do what you wish with that information. But buying above that would make sense. And the same would be the case here having to do with the Kiwi. The equivalent level is 64.25, okay, 0.6425. Keep in mind though, because both of those can end up getting rejected from the equivalent areas. So you want to trade them to the upside, wait for a legitimate breakout because you don't really want to be buying on a resistance, because resistance can actually end up acting as resistance, okay? Now, I also want to cover the USD against the Canadian, because I wrote that in the chat room as well. Yesterday was a big down day and a huge reversal here. So I wrote in the chat room that we were testing support when we were testing support. And now that we've broken through the support area, it's quite a bearish development. I mean, this recent price action, which was slow, choppy, overlapping, and kept failing on its way to testing 61.8, was already sending some warning signals. Now that we broke below this trend line support, I don't really see any reason why we wouldn't end up retesting this long-term ascending channel support, which currently passes from 131. So I really don't see any big technical obstacles on the way to 131. And I do think that it is a very, very high likelihood that we're going to make it there. Now, what happens from there is quite important, because that's going to be a huge area that you can, try buying. But if for some reason we do break below this ascending channel, just, put things in context here. Just look at it. You don't want to be long if we break below this channel. That's going to be a huge, huge technical implication. Okay, huge technical implication. So, bottom line, you can be as much bullish as you want above 131, but if we make it below that, be very, very careful, because the path of least resistance is going to be lower. Of course, in order for that to happen, we would need to see this recent rejection. I remember it was night, and I went in the chat room specifically to mention that the daily reversal that we were getting 2 days ago in the DXY, there you go. Here you can see the key area at which we got this reversal. We're now pushing lower, but have we done any big technical damage? No, we haven't. I mean, this is a very nice rejection, but DXY officially remains in an uptrend, right? Because we still haven't broken the sequence of higher lows. Now, if for some reason, though, this proves to be the high, or a significant high, how are we going to know that? Simply if we break below this ascending channel support. Then you will have every reason to be very bearish a lot of dollar pairs having to do with dollar, right? And obviously, if that's what the DXY intends to do, USD CAD will have already broken the 131 area, and it's going to be on its way a lot lower than that. At the same time, both the USD NOK and USD CAD, which have reversed lower as we showed, will be helped by seeing a technical breakout for crude. And keep in mind that we're not that far away from that, right? Because we're monitoring this flat bottom triangle, or you can call it a descending triangle, right? We have this descending trend line resistance also we have a range here, which the highs are roughly at 57. Now this trend line has also kept, moving lower every single day. It's almost at 57 as well, while we have support at 50.5. So the break higher from 57 will point to further gains. Next upside target is going to be the 61.8 and previous high here at 60.5. Above that, we have another confluence of resistances at 63. So, those are easily doable levels. While another rejection from here, keeps the pair, keeps crude actually, sorry, in this range. So bottom line, if you want to, take a trade based purely on a risk reward, you can be short here because you have a very limited risk. But keep in mind that if we decisively break above 57, I do think that there's going to be at least another $3.50 of upside, if not more than that. Of course, crude moving higher will help even more the Canadian overperform the USD and the Norwegian overperforming the USD. Okay, Coach?
Coach? Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
And
Do we
I
have
see
a
you,
guest?
Demelza. I see you.
Okay, so we do have a guest.
Yes. Crypto PhD.
Okay, perfect. Until you upgrade your friend, there is a question about the Australian index. So go ahead and promote our friend here, your guest, and I want to show the Australian because I had quite a nice outlook here in the Australian index. I was expecting a failure from this long-term channel. You can see how long-term that is, right?
Yes.
We did get that failure, but we found support on a support area. I mean, no surprise there. Previous highs, this area had been tested 3 times as a resistance until the market finally managed to break above it. We retested that as support and it's holding for now. But having said that, I'm not sure we're done moving lower. So I would be careful because I think another leg lower like this is a likely scenario before we can start discussing again about bullish potentials. Okay, so I would still be very, very skeptical in being long here because I think there's at least one more leg missing to the downside. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, Demelza, I'm going to promote you. Your boss was going to be with us. Tell him you got a promotion here in face. So you're now a panelist, and I'm going to unmute you. And then you can share your screen. Welcome back to Face, Demelza.
Thank you for having me on, Dale.
It's great to have you back. Quite a lot has happened. If you want to share your screen, you'll see a little green box says share. You click it, and it'll show whatever screen you choose.
Okay.
Just hover your mouse around the drop-down menu, and you'll see it. Okay, we're getting your screen now. Google is up there, a Google page.
Okay, well, I'll just leave it on here on Crypto Research Report while we're talking.
All right. Well, let's start with this. I believe, when were you on last time, Demelza? You remember the month?
I think it was April.
Okay, so we had already started the recovery in crypto, and we had that, outstanding move, almost a quadruple from 3 to 12, and we've been moving sideways here. A lot of people thinking technical entries around 7K would be an opportune moment to step in. Do you pay attention to levels, or are you a lot like a lot of gold people who say, don't wait to buy gold and wait? Do you say the same thing about crypto?
Exactly, Dale. I buy basically the same amount every month, regardless of the market.
Okay. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. So, you know, if the market's advancing, you're buying it. If the market's falling, you're buying it. And you allocate what, a certain percentage of your income every month to it? That's conviction.
Exactly. I think right now it's yeah, I put in a certain amount every month and a certain amount of fiat, and it buys variable amounts of Bitcoin. And
Okay.
I just hold the Bitcoin over time, and that's basically how I do that on my personal account. Because I think, you know, I think when you know, I think even Warren Buffett mentioned it. I mean, when he gets bored, he starts to make his worst trades. And I think in crypto, you don't need to be that clever to make money. You just have to be disciplined enough to hold on when the market puts you on in for a ride.
Okay. So it looks like a new report, the most incredible duo. The duo is Bitcoin and Swiss. Is it Bitcoin Swiss? Is it a certain coin that a bank's putting out or Switzerland's putting out? Explain the incredible duo to us.
Sure. Well, Bitcoin Swiss is the largest broker of cryptocurrency
Okay.
in Europe, and we recently made a partnership with them. So that's what's going on here. But let's see. I can try to flip through different pages here. What do we got here? We got a crypto fund. We got our latest article on gold stable coins.
What are
Our
those? What are those? Gold state. I mean, gold's been the precious metals. I assume I would make a guess with silver's outperformance of gold that there'll be a silver crypto coming up.
well,
Is there anything on the drawing board for that?
Well, that's a good point. To be honest, I haven't. I'm sure there is, but I haven't heard of it yet.
Okay,
But the
there'll be
silver,
one. There'll be
yeah, there'll
one.
be one pretty
Yeah.
soon. But I'm not very convinced though, by the gold-backed stablecoins, because there's a lot of risks there that you're not really getting that much benefit for over an ETF.
Okay. All right. So, um, why don't we talk about what happened here in the U.S. with the IRS getting a list of Bitcoin holders, traders, etc., that didn't report capital gains. Do you think this is a stance that the U.S. government is taking against Bitcoin, or just the Treasury needing every penny it can get?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, basically, you know, they sent out 3 versions of the letter. Um, the first version was just kind of stating we think that you didn't accurately declare your cryptocurrency holdings, and the second one was kind of more like, well, you declared something, but we think you did it incorrectly. And the third letter was basically saying, you know, you must reply to this letter. We're convinced that you have not reported your earnings correctly. So 2 of the letters you
Okay.
don't even have to respond to if you don't want to. I actually did personally receive one of them, and all of the data, all of the I mean, all of the IRS received this information from Coinbase, and you know, it's really tricky because the letter basically states that you must comply with all you know, tax law, but the tax law on cryptocurrencies is not really clear in many cases. For example, I lost or had not lost. I had stolen many cryptocurrencies. They were hacked, and there's not a clear process for declaring those types of losses within the current system. There's also problems
Were you
with.
new to the game when that happened? Because, you know, that would make me pretty paranoid. You're an expert, you're working on a PhD in crypto, and, you know, I've heard stories from a lot of people of how they've lost coins. So, um, is that a constant worry for people?
I think so. I mean, I was doing risky stuff, but I think that people don't even know how to gauge risks in this industry. So I think you find out if it's risky when it's too late in this
Yeah.
industry.
So
So
how do you prep for it, and what steps can crypto holders take to lessen the potential of having their, you know, what they're believed to be a very important asset to them being stolen? I mean, it's tough enough being right in the market, making money in the market, taking pressure, but actually to have your net worth stolen from you, what steps do you take and recommend people do to eliminate that? Maybe you can't 100%, but what steps do you tell people to take to feel more secure when they go to sleep?
Oops, I'm sorry. I just got rid of my. Let me see here. I have to increase my. Somehow my sound is not perfect, but well, generally that's a great question. I mean, basically you have. Okay, a lot of people were suggesting to put on two-factor authenticator with your cell phone. So now when you log in, you have to type in a password, your normal password, and then it'll prompt you to put in a 6-digit code that comes from your cell phone.
Okay, you mean this like online banking is, like I use Zelle, similar if I'm going to make a transaction, they will send me a code that only you get on your own device. Like that?
Exactly. Now, Dale, probably with you, you might be getting a text message with that number.
Yeah.
Now, here's the problem with that. Okay, that was the first step towards security, but the problem with that is that people are now calling AT&T and Verizon and Sprint, and they are telling, these hackers are basically telling these companies that they lost their phone and they need a new SIM card issued. So then the hacker gets a new SIM card that has your phone number on it, and now he has access to your SMS messages that the bank will send you, or the cryptocurrency exchange. And people have lost millions in the United States. And in fact, there's a court case going on against one of the largest telephone providers because they did give out a SIM card to a hacker, and that hacker was able to steal an individual's cryptocurrencies from Coinbase a few years ago, and now they're suing the telephone company because the telephone company is not really going to do a lot of they're not going to spend a lot of time and money on making sure that you're actually the person you say you are when you call the customer service. There's multiple reasons for that. But yeah, that was the first step. The second step was now ensuring that you get the message, the 6 digits, through what's called Google Authenticator, which is an application that you can download from the App Store onto your phone. And instead of getting a text message with the 6 digits, you get 6 digits from your phone itself. And that worked for a while, but hackers found a way around that. And basically now what they do is they reset your password so they hack into your email, which is the main entry point for hackers. They hack into your email, and then they contact the different exchanges that you have Google Authenticator set up with, and they tell those exchanges that you lost your phone and you need to reset the Google Authenticator with a new device. And this takes 2 to 3 days. But once it's done, the hacker now has full access to your cryptocurrency account, and they have your email account as well, so they can basically hide emails from you while this whole process is going on. So now the whole entire industry is trying
I don't like the brave new world.
I know. They're just, every single step we take towards defending ourselves, they take 2 steps on the offense, to attack us. So it's a tough market, but generally what I do now is I have a diversified strategy. I have a lot of my holdings on completely offline so that they cannot get into my accounts and hack the majority of my crypto holdings through digital means. I mean, they would have to come find the whole, like the physical location of where the cold storage is. They would have to, either kidnap someone and force them. It gets very, you can complicate this.
Where's the cold storage? In a wallet at your home, or at whereas, I mean, I'm a low commodity trader, so cold storage to me meant where they kept pork bellies. So what's cold storage in crypto?
Well, that's a great question, Dale. I mean, basically, you have, what it means is that the coins are not being stored online. They're basically being stored in a hardware device.
Okay.
offline, which could be in a safe. It could be at your bank in your safety deposit box. It could be in
Okay.
a safe at your house. It could be,
Right. Got it.
yeah, it could be various
It's like
places.
having possession of coins.
Exactly. It's the
Got
same
it.
idea. It's the same. Can you still see my screen? I don't know.
Yeah, we got you up there.
Great.
Right now, you have Libra up there. You want to talk about what Facebook's up to here?
Sure. Libra is a great topic. I was at a government event last week in Austria, and they had somebody, the head of Facebook for Germany, presenting on Libra. And the first 10 minutes, he talked about how we all need to support this because it will help the most disadvantaged in the world, the poorest of the poor, the world's unbanked. They were quoting something like 2 billion people unbanked. These people need access to financial services, and now Libra will save the day. Are you kind of? Do you think you're listening? Should I just briefly introduce Libra, or do you think they already know what it is?
You could briefly introduce it.
So, I mean, Libra is basically launching a cryptocurrency that will be backed by 5 fiat currencies and 5 treasury bonds from 5 different countries. So that would be the United States, the euro, the pound, the Canadian dollar, and the yen, Japanese yen. So what it means is that they're going to basically buy assets, so fiat currencies and bonds. They're going to hold them in an account in Switzerland, and based on how much reserve assets they have, they're going to be issuing tokens called Libra. And Libra can be traded through the Facebook Messenger app. It can be used to make payments. It can be used to save money over time.
Why did they choose the name Libra? Does it mean freedom? Or is it the astrological sign?
Well, I think it's because my birthday is in October, and I'm
Yeah, and you're the only crypto PhD in the galaxy.
exactly.
Is that it?
No,
Okay.
I really don't know. I don't know, Dale.
There's a lot in the name, so I was curious. All right, go ahead.
That's a good point. I'm not really sure on that point.
I mean, it will be part of marketing.
Yeah, it's got to be some kind of. I'm not sure.
In Spanish, it might mean liberty or something. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. My mind wanders at my age.
No, that's a question. I really don't know. Somebody,
Okay.
somebody. But yeah, basically, whenever I hear people get up and on stage and say, "I'm doing this to help the poor," and da da da.
Yeah.
That's my first red flag. I'm
Right.
like, okay, what's going on here? And basically, the way that I look at this, Dale, is that it's going to be a massive redistribution of wealth from Africa, Asia, South America, and the Middle East to Europe and the United States, because basically now there's hardly there's no one signing up to buy. I mean, there's nobody showing up to buy new government bonds from the developed countries. Basically, the developed countries have to force banks and institutions to hold bonds, and there's like 16 to 17 trillion in negative interest yielding debt. I mean, there's a huge, in my opinion, this is really a lot of assets in there. And now, to basically save the day, we can now get the household savings of the entire rest of the world. We can get them to buy Libra, and when they buy Libra, that means the Libra Association will have to buy up more government debt from those 5 countries and more fiat currencies from those 5 countries. So for me, with the classical Ponzi scheme, you always need to get new people involved to keep the show running. And I think,
No, you know what? We're talking about a 30-year bull market that is pretty extreme. I wouldn't feel comfortable if that was the asset that was backing it. I mean, it would have made more sense when yields were higher, but with yields here, doesn't that inherently create risk in the asset?
I
What
completely
if rates
agree.
go up one day, is what I'm saying, Demelza.
No, I agree completely. But I mean, even a lot of institutions, like, I don't know if it's pensions in the U.S. have this issue, but pensions in Europe have to hold bonds because they say that money is too risky to hold. So,
Well, every bond is money because it's backed, it's in some currency. So, you know, people are chasing yield. This has really never happened in the history, modern history of economics, negative interest rates like this on such a large scale. So it almost feels like they're coming in, almost makes me think like I have to look for short positions in bonds if they're going to bring in the little guy who's unbanked, who might be better off unbanked than buying bonds after a 30-year bull market.
I completely agree. I
So are
really
you going to
don't.
be buying Libra in your own account?
No. I mean, one thing is to keep in mind is that it's
Okay. All right.
one thing that
That's where
it's
the
supposed to
rubber
be.
meets the road. You know, if you believe in it, you buy it. So are you warning people about this or just educating them about it?
No, I'm just educating people about it. I mean, I think that one thing to consider is that it's supposed to be a stable coin in the sense that it's not supposed to have appreciation. So it's not really an investment, so to speak. But uh, I mean, I'm warning people about it because I really think that this is just an extension of the current monetary system in a new form. It's the emperor's new clothes, but I still think the emperor's naked.
Okay. Okay. All right. So that's Facebook's experiment. It'll probably be hugely successful because, you know, they could promote how well the bond market, let me stress, has done, not what it may do, but how it is done. So what else is on your mind and radar, Demelza?
Oh, let's see. I mean, the cryptocurrency market, I mean, I do think, I mean, there's a whole bunch of topics. I think that Facebook, because Libra will be somewhat successful or very successful, we have to see, but I do think that, Libra and Facebook could basically become too big to fail in some way because there's already discussions about, if the world's economy becomes dependent on Facebook and Libra, then this could become something that's very relevant for political discussions. And at that point, they could really come after Bitcoin because I think that a lot of people would, Libra is kind of like the nice user interface. Everybody's familiar with Facebook. Facebook will make it very easy to buy Libra. I mean, Facebook will make it so easy to buy Libra. We'll probably be buying Libra in our sleep.
Okay.
And I think that this could eventually have a consequence on Bitcoin because a lot of people are kind of think this is kind of bullish for Bitcoin. Like, it'll bring people one step closer to crypto. But I actually think that if Facebook can convince these 5 governments that they can redistribute, they can increase demand for bonds and fiat, then I think that, a lot of anti-Bitcoin rhetoric will come out. And then at that point, I'm not really sure because it's the Bitcoin
Yeah.
is fighting a tough war here along with gold and silver.
Yeah. Gold and silver winning the war, and so is Bitcoin lately. So why don't we talk about what you offer to the public besides your great research? Maybe go over your website and so people have this type of resource before they, commit their hard-earned money to something that's new to them. So how do you go about educating people? Do you have webinars too, Demelza? Do you,
Uh,
have a community? How do you go about it?
well, actually, I mean, that's a great question. I am basically a writer, so I do a
Okay.
lot of writing. I do writing all over the, for Forbes and Business Insider and all, all these types of outlets. But the company that I work for, actually, I'm going to become a partner this next quarter. Right now there's 4 founders, and I will join as the 5th partner. These are basically our team. This is Stefan, Ronnie, Mark, Dr.
I just had Ronnie on a few months ago.
Oh, how was he? How was he?
Oh, great. We had fun.
Ronnie's great on the markets, and Mark Ballack is my direct boss, and Hans. Then we have some compliance team, but generally what we are is we're a wealth management firm. We have basically one gold fund, one commodities fund, like broad commodities. We have the crypto fund where I work, and now we're trying to grow the crypto space, the crypto side, and we're probably going to launch a volatility trading strategy based on Ledger X in the U.S. because now the U.S. has Bitcoin settled futures. It used to be only cash settled futures. So this is quite an opportunity because the volatility is really, the premiums on these options are enormous.
Okay, so you guys are basically you're going to have a trading operation, funds, etc., and you're the only American, huh?
I'm the only American right now. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least they still let you in despite what's happening here, and really, yeah. And Ronnie was great. So, you guys look like you're covering the whole gamut. And what kind of minimum investment to get involved with you guys does it take? And are there? Can you take money from non-credited investors for your funds?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, we have different funds, some where only professional or qualified accredited can invest, other funds where retail can invest. So we have various products. We don't, as of this moment, have a product that Americans can invest in, which is a real pity. But we hope to bridge that gap in Q1 or Q2 of next year. Right now, we're working on some other initiatives, but the minimum investment for the cryptocurrency fund is $1,000. But yeah, but
low
some
entry.
of it's not a high entry. It's not a high entry, and it's quite progressive. The regulators.
Do you have an equity? You have an equity curve for that fund over the last few years?
An equity curve?
Yeah, kind of like performance of what the fund has done in the last few years with all this volatility. Is it just a long only fund and it stays long forever?
No, it's basically gold and Bitcoin combined in one fund, where if Bitcoin goes up in value and it takes up to, if it, the weight of it within the portfolio reaches 40%, we sell the Bitcoin, realize gains, and then we buy gold, physical gold that's stored in Liechtenstein. And the strategy year to date this year is 47% up.
Nice. Mm-hmm. How about last year?
Yeah, so it's not a bad year,
it's
but
a great year.
Of course, if we had, it's a great year. And the whole point of that is to reduce the risk, because a lot of institutions just don't want to hold on to pure Bitcoin strategies where they can lose 80% on their 1% position in crypto.
Did you have drawdowns last year before the bottom at the beginning of this year?
So
did the fund suffer when Bitcoin went from 19,000 to 3?
Actually, we weren't launched last year, but if we had been launched,
okay,
would
good
have
timing.
Yeah, we would have had a bad year last year. I mean, but yeah, everyone did. But we would have had, I would guess, around a 50% drawdown last year.
Okay, all right. So what's the mix right now with the performance in both, and gold really stealing the show, although silver's outperforming? Has gold become a bigger part of your fund with the move that we've had in it as far as asset value? Has it climbed to 40% yet?
Well, no, the thing is basically when we started out this strategy last year, it was just a pure hold long strategy on all cryptos, and that's why we would have had the 50% drawdown, because it was just directional. And And what we did was we switched it so that now we have 75% gold and 25% Bitcoin. And as Bitcoin goes up, we sell Bitcoin and we buy gold, and vice versa. If gold goes up, we would sell gold and buy Bitcoin. But right now, gold has not hit the trigger where we're selling gold and buying Bitcoin. We haven't got there yet.
Got to be, you know, I mean, we've had 30% rally, so have to be approaching it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What do you need? 2,000 gold to approach it?
That's a good point. I would
Okay.
have to. This is a great question for Mark.
Okay. Well,
'Cause he's
you
the one
know,
that does all this.
down the road, you know, I can interview a team. I can make, you know, you and Mark and Ronnie, we could do a panel one day. So anything, the most important thing you want to pass on to people listening to us live and the recording later, Demelza, in the
Sure.
last few minutes?
Well, I think the best thing is that to get our report. So, you know, if they go to cryptoresearch.report/downloads, they can get it. It's available in English or in German. And also, I just wanted to say, we are totally revamping the entire website. We're going to have proprietary data available for free with about 100 different variables in CSV file and in Excel file, so people can download the data, get it on their side, and start doing the kind of analysis they want to do. We're going to have basically all sorts of different features in there: monthly, weekly, quarterly, daily, whatever, interdaily, you know, interday tick symbols. Where it'll be really nice data. It'll be on multiple coins. It'll be you can compare the cryptocurrency market to the S&P or to the DAX or S&P. You know, we're gonna have all the main stock exchange indices up there, and gold, of course, and silver. So so in the next couple months, the website's going to become basically a data platform, and we hope to drive more readers into our report, more readers, more investors into our website, and yeah.
That website address again is?
Cryptoresearch.report.
That's for the report, but that's the website address too?
Exactly. Actually downloading the report is cryptoresearch.report/downloads.
Okay. All right. Well, Demelza, I recommend, if you have an interest in this asset class, this arena, that Demelza's really on top of it, and she's part of a great team. And Demelza, I believe in teamwork. You know, there's no I in team. That's what we have here. And, you know, I wish you and your team a lot of success, especially with your mission on educating people about landmines, pitfalls, and how to be secure in doing this. There's enough to deal with price risk. People shouldn't have to deal with fraud, right? Or thievery. So anyway, it's tough enough to make a buck. And thank you for your mission. And I root for you. And that we'll be back together next time. Maybe we could set up that panel. And I'm sure we'll have more to talk about this winter. So we'll schedule something for that time frame.
Thank you, Dale, and I keep following you on Twitter, and I love your tweets, and I just think you're doing great things for the U.S.
Oh, thanks. We're international, so
okay.
I'm an international star. So anyway, and if you want an 8x10 glossy autograph, let me know. I'll get one out to you, Demelza. And really, it was a pleasure chatting with you today. And congratulations on really being brave in the new brave world and the new frontier of crypto.
Thank you, Dale.
All right. So that's a wrap for us, everyone. And also NFP tomorrow. So trade the NFP, should be no frickin' problem. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. And we'll see you tomorrow for the NFP. Adios.